Good morning, everybody. We did not have an intro song today. As you can see, I'm on the basic StreamYard. I will be fixing that soon. Gotta love StreamYard. Anyhow, this is an unscheduled live this morning, and I do plan on doing a live this week regarding the Epstein list and what's been going on with the DOJ. So we will be going over that sometime this week, if not Wednesday, Thursday. I'm jumping on now to do a quick video in regards to a few videos, actually weeks and weeks and weeks of videos that I've seen from a couple of different YouTube creators. One in particular, Anton Daniels, who's been covering the single mothers of today. And, I have to commend them for trying to do this as men. It's not an easy subject to touch on. I appreciate their input. But sometimes a person who's been through the actual experience is the best one to hear from. Now, of course, my circumstances were different. I'm 58 years old, so I'm from a different generation, an older generation. I raised my kids through the 80s. My children were born in, 80, 84, 86, and 88. And my reason for being a single mother at that time was because of divorce. So I divorced their father for good reason. All my children were under the age of 5 at the time that I made this decision. And the decision was made because of the lifestyle he chose to live, which was dangerous for my children and their future. And so I had to make a choice. It was a difficult one. Simultaneously, I put myself through college, and it was a local college that turned university, and went into the health field because that seemed to be the best way to make money at the time. And at that time, you were able to get certifications. You did not necessarily have to go for a degree. I didn't get my degrees until years later when they were in high school. It was not an easy road to take, but looking back, it was the best decision to be made because of the people they turned out to be. Now, this was a situation it was out of my control. I could not change the person I was with. I could not change their mind about the things they were doing. And it would have negatively affected my children in a very bad way. And so I knew I had to do it this way. It wasn't as if I was only with him for a year or two. We were married for almost 7 years. And I just did not want to do this to them anymore. So, it was a very difficult road. My constant focus was on the basic needs: shelter, food, and making sure they were clean, making sure they were healthy, making sure they were going to school or what they needed for school, their health care, and really never got to enjoy them. And let me tell you something, ladies. That time goes by very quickly. They may look little to you now, and it may seem like every day goes by slowly, but there's going to be a time where it's going to feel like you blinked your eyes and they're going to be grown up and they're not going to need you anymore. And you're going to want a relationship with them. And if you didn't invest time and getting to know them as people and what they think, and if you just treat them like they're just a responsibility of something you need to feed and something you need to shelter, you will be sorry. It took years before I realized that my kids were individuals and I had to get to know them. And it took years. They were out of high school before I realized that, because I was so focused, for myself, on school, on paying the bills, on working, on all the things that a single mom has to take on. However, your generation is much more advanced and much more blessed than mine was because of the opportunities that you have. And you're not looking in the right direction. And I can understand why. You're in the position you're in as a single unwed mother. You did not marry the man you had your children with. Shame on you for that. Because as a married woman, you would have at least gotten child support. There would have at least been some sort of support. But I digress. You've chosen this life because you didn't have good guidance. You might have a great mom and a great dad, but they failed you somewhere. And that's why you are, and we all end up like that when we have bad guidance. That doesn't make bad parents, it just means it's bad guidance. But you can fix it. If you actually take out the time to look on YouTube could be a very powerful tool. And look for remote jobs. Everybody has a computer. Everyone. If you have a cell phone in your hand that you could go on Facebook and TikTok, you have a computer in your hand. If you have a laptop, if you have a tablet, you have a computer. And these remote jobs, there are remote jobs thanks to, CV-19. There are remote jobs out there for people like you where you could stay at home with your children and make very decent money. I didn't have that opportunity. Now, if you're a college grad, you should be jumping on this like white on rice. And it's all over YouTube. Okay, there's one man in particular, and I should have found that for you. But if you just go into, I'm sorry that I didn't, or you just go into the address bar, you go into the search bar rather, and you look up remote jobs of 2025 or the best remote jobs, you will find there's a young man who gives this advice on the best remote jobs for the most money. And he even helps you, advises you. And he's helped many people get remote jobs because they needed to travel, they needed to leave the place that they were, living at, or they had children at home just like you. There's a way to fix this problem. You don't have to live on food stamps. You don't have to. It goes as far down as customer service all the way up to skilled things that you can do. There's offers out there for jobs, companies that no longer that they realize I don't have to pay this overhead anymore. Instead of having this overhead, I'd rather have these employees working from home and I just send them a paycheck. Companies got smart on how to save money. And so I'm giving you, and why am I giving you this advice? Because, okay, you're in this position, you put yourself in this position, and here you are. Okay? Why you're there and why this is happening does not matter. And you don't need for someone to come on and do a video and have to make you feel bad about your decision, because that just makes things worse. So you need somebody who's going to come on and give you actual true advice. Not somebody who's going to say, well, you had a bad daddy and you had a bad mama and you had a bad this and you had a bad... Got it. Okay, we figured that out. Do you have a solution? See, sitting and talking about the problem and talking about the problem and talking about the problem is just as bad as the problem itself. But you need to have somebody that comes onto the scene and says, I have a solution. Some of these remote jobs are $30 an hour or more. And you can't go into an office, I don't care what degree you've got, and start out at that. And when you have to go and start out, you have children, let's say, and you will go and start a new job. You got to worry about getting those kids into after school daycare, or if they're, younger than school age, you got to worry about daycare. And let me tell you something, I wouldn't put my kids in daycare back then or now. I trust no one. I'm sorry, I just don't think that there are good enough daycares out there. You love your children, you just don't want them to be cared for by strangers. You want them to grow up with you. You have this opportunity. And this is for the woman that's out there. It's like, well, I live in the ghetto and I have to live on welfare and blah, blah, blah. Don't give me that. If you know how to type on TikTok, if you know how to type out chat on Facebook, if you know how to do that, you can do these jobs. Well, I don't know how to spell. I don't know how to do grammar. I call BS on that too, because spell check does it for everybody. Every single platform that's out there has spell check. Use it. Learn it. And be kind. Learn to be kind. Humble yourself. You want to make money? Learn to kiss a little, eat a little crow. Kiss a little butt. What does that mean? That means that if you take a customer service job, for example, serve the customer. It's about you making a paycheck. Remember? And if the job is customer service, serve the customer. That's what it's all about. It's not about you being right. It's not about you being cool in front of your friends. 5-year-olds think that way. If you want to act like a child, you're going to be treated like a child. You're not going to be taken seriously by the world if you're going to act like an over-entitled moron. Grow up. But if you want a grown-up job, you want to live an adult life, you want to be able to pay your bills, you want to be able to take care of your children the right way. And I don't mean just taking care of them by paying their bills. I mean spend time with them. Grow up with them. Get to know them. Get involved with them. This you can do. I didn't have this offer in the 80s. We didn't even have this offer in the 90s. But you have it. Stop getting on TikTok and complaining about your life and take 5 minutes out to go and search out these remote jobs. As I said, they're on YouTube. He gives the advice, he gives you the direction, he gives you the guidance. He basically takes your hand and holds it all the way up to the job. What more do you need? You need to grow up. You need to stop looking for attention on social media. Your children need you. They need you to be a mother. Because as I said, these kids are going to grow up and they're going to look at you and go, you are our only example. And you failed us. And there's no going back to fix that. None. Any mistake you make as a parent, it's done. You try to fix it when they're adults, it's very difficult. You can apologize. You could try to make it up to them. But they are who they are because of the decisions you made. So if you want your children to do better than you want them to make better decisions, you want them to live a good life, you want to have a nice roof over your head, you want to drive a nice car, then you're going to have to make adult decisions. And the adult decision means that when you're working, it doesn't matter what skin color they are or what they look like, or even if they come in or talk to you on the phone with a bad attitude, you have to talk like a customer service representative. And you have to learn how to diffuse the situation and calm them down and get to the solution and fix the problem. And even if you're not customer service and you're just working for whomever, doing whatever, if they're signing your paycheck, you do your job. You do your job. Otherwise, you don't deserve that paycheck. It's not about you anymore. You decided to have children. It's about them now, and they're depending on you. And you can do it you have more opportunity today than we ever had in past generations. Now, just so you know, as I said, I went to school, I went to work, I worked very hard, and yes, I always made sure that the basics were taken care of. And I was like a Gestapo with my children. Okay, I was very strict. And yes, thank God, none of them ended up in jail, none of them are dead, none of them ended up pregnant before they got married. It was none of that. I was really very blessed and very fortunate. But that's a very difficult task. There's a lot that I missed out on because I was a single mother, totally focused on the basic needs and having to take care of them. If I would have had the option of being able to sit behind a computer in my own home and be with my children more, I would have taken it in a New York minute. And that would have paid my bills. I would have absolutely taken it, but I didn't have that option. You do. So I hope that this is a valuable lesson. I hope that this helps somebody, because we have to stop talking about the problem. It's time to grow up. I've seen so many TikTok videos about the dumbest things, and you're adults. You're adults. Grow up. Make grown-up decisions now. Okay? So for everybody else, for Axiom show on Creator to Class magazine, as I said earlier in the beginning of the show, this was just a jump on and for commentary towards something that I had seen on YouTube and TikTok, and I'm just so tired of hearing about it, and it's just talked about to death. I felt like it needed to be covered by somebody who's been through this experience, and so that's why I jumped on. I'm also here to tell everybody that I have been keeping an eye on the Epstein List situation and what's going on with the DOJ. And just for a little snippet, it looks like Pam Bondi's in trouble. Let's just put it that way. When President Trump puts out a commentary, a post, and he leaves her name out when discussing the DOJ and the FBI, you know that he's pretty much given you a calm that she's out. So, and you know what? Maybe it's a necessity, because let's just remember it's only been a few weeks ago that she was saying that this list was on her desk, and that she looked at it, and that she was amazed by what she had seen, and now all of a sudden there's no list. So, I'm sorry, but most of us weren't born under a rock. Well, anyhow, I'm keeping up with that, and I do plan on doing a show, if not tomorrow afternoon, because tomorrow is it was supposed to be later on this afternoon. Today's Wednesday, I keep forgetting. If I don't get to you later on this afternoon, it will be tomorrow afternoon that I will be covering this, so look for us live. We will be live here. We'll be live on Rumble. And I'm also going to share this on the TikToks. So just wanted to jump on and give my 2 cents. Hope this helps somebody. And until I see you guys again, good morning. This might have to be a replay for anybody jumping on. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps somebody. Until I see you again, have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and God bless.